This block took me 10 hours to carve. It started as a sketch, which I then combined with a typeface that I created digitally. That combined sketch and typeface were then printed out, slapped on a block, and carved out bit by bit over the next week, in bits and pieces after work. So now, after 10 additional hours of work, I can use that block to print 11 by 17 prints all by hand. Pretty fancy, huh? Wait, what? But you had a perfectly good design, and now you're gonna go and spend an additional 10 hours on a design so that you can hand do it, so that you can hand print. But why wouldn't it, doesn't it just make more sense to like send it off to a printer now, since it's done, and it's like, it was done. It was done. And then you went and added on this. What? That would make more sense, but maybe I wanted to take my time with it because I like working with my hands. It's mind-boggling how much I actually really like to work with my hands. See, this project is not the only one that I've gone way too far with. Take, for instance, my patchwork jean jacket or the quilt that I'm hand quilting. Oh, this? Yes, this is my child. It came from my brain to my hands and now exists in the world. And I love it. I shall take care of it. And yes, it has 11 fully functioning pockets, all from men's jeans, because I can. It's my child and I love it. My senior project will be no different in the harder than it has to be department. Because once these prints are done, I plan to go back in and embellish them further with gel pens and colored pencils, maybe some watercolor or acrylic. I don't know, haven't really figured it out yet. Who knows what I'm gonna do? Lord knows I don't. It's pretty good. I'm a maker who must get her hands dirty. From a young age, my creativity, and let's be honest, a little bit of neurodivergence required that of me. I collect creative hobbies like they're Pokemon. The phrase jack of all trades and master of none was basically written about me. When I was younger, people would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'd always say an equine vet, because I was, and let's be honest, still am, a crazy horse girl. I also thought that making money in a creative field wasn't going to work for me. I don't know, man. The whole starving artist thing really stuck in my brain. I couldn't get it out. But then graphic design was offered to me on a silver platter, and my little 8th grade brain went, oh, I can make money and be creative at the same time. Pow! Explosions everywhere. I went to college. Well, I'm finishing college. I'm almost done with my degree in graphic design. So yes, I've learned the software. I've learned how to add texture. I've learned how to make a vector image. But anytime I had a project, my hand always just reached for pen and paper. And no matter how hard I tried, those sketches could never translate into the digital the way that I wanted them to. Don't get me wrong, there's artists whose mastery of digital mediums is awe-inspiring. I am constantly amazed at their level of just wizardry at that craft. I am not one of them. I've made my peace with that now. For a while I really wanted to be. It didn't work out. It didn't work out. I've made my peace with it, okay? For the most part. There are sometimes that I'm still really like, oh my goodness, they did so good, it looks so good, I just want to be like them. But I've made my peace with it, okay? Okay? For the most part. There are some pieces of mine that have come out well in the digital sphere, but again and again and again, I'm reminded just how much I love working with physical mediums. So kind of an update about where we're at in this project. I finished the block, yay! But I forgot how long it takes to let the ink dry, and I forgot how much ink it takes to actually get the print quality that I'm looking for. So I did 4 prints either 2 or 3 days ago, and the ink is still tacky to the touch. I'll show them to you. Oh, sorry, there's a dog. He's trying to trip me. Welcome to this corner. So, I finished the block, and we printed with the block. It looks very nice, very good. This is the first print that I did. And it's the most solid of the prints themselves. Like, it has the best ink coverage on it. The other ones, it kind of went downhill from there a little bit. Okay, I have some ideas on how I want to make sure that these print out better. Number 1 is have more ink on the palette itself. And number 2, I'm thinking about stepping on it for pressure. I have this mat that I can use to keep it where it needs to be, but we'll see about that. I think the biggest thing for now is going to be getting enough ink. So start with that, and then if it needs more pressure or something else, we'll troubleshoot and go from there. So I think that's next. Human-made items carry a piece of that person with them. Imagine that you were given a quilt or a vegetable or a painting. That person put an immense amount of work and time into that gift. What an exceptional form of connection. They're literally gifting you time, which is something that we all have a finite amount of. Let's leave it at this. I am a huge fan of the handmade and of the process of handicraft itself. It just scratches an itch for me that nothing else has been able to do. So, okay, if you love the handmade so much, why are you planning to sell mass-made prints at your senior show with your handmade prints? Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of making it handmade and this whole spiel that you just did about how much you love handmade and all that? Well, I was gonna talk about that next, but yeah, I suppose I can answer your question. Yes, at my show I am planning to sell both mass-made prints and hand-done prints, because at the end of the day, yes, while I prefer the process of making by hand, I don't want to price anybody out of having just a little bit more joy in their life. Okay, so I have my glass palette, and I'm using Cranfield, not sponsored. They're just a really juicy ink that I've heard a lot of good things about, and so far, I can agree. Brayer, I don't have a Baron, which is really sad. That's the thing that you use to press the print down with, but don't have one of those. So, handy dandy wooden spoon. Yes, it's tedious on a piece that's this big, but oh well. Also need the paper. Need the paper for the printmaking. Oh, and I need a ruler. Ruler. Excuse me, Archie. Hello, friend. Yes. Ruler required. Okay, so I don't need that quite yet. Last time when I ripped the paper, I did not rip it equally. It was not ripped on a half and half, which is fine because I'm not going to be using the full pieces of paper anyway. As in, like, the full halves, I don't need them. I went into art so I didn't have to do math. And then art was like, you don't have to do math? You silly, silly girl. Of course you have to do math. Have the block. Gonna ink the block up, then put the paper on. And then go from there. Once the paper goes down, it cannot be adjusted. She's down, folks. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Nice. Nice. I don't mind a little bit of the knot being in there, but like where it's not completely black. There's some here at the bottom, a little bit on the side there, but overall, yeah, there's some on the A. But overall, I am very pleased with that print. Wow, that came out great. Just a little comparison between the print just did, one of the worst, not worse, but one of the lighter prints from before. Look at that, look at that. Yes, okay, so it was more ink. That was my problem. Good to know, good to know, good to know.